Everyone's been talking so much about how AI art is going to ruin artists, etc. But I genuinely think that at the end of the day, it will end up more as a tool in that regard, like Photoshop or After Effects. Far more automated, of course, and it will have a significant impact on the business at large, but it won't ruin it. And it will probably appear like a mere storm in a teacup in comparison to what AI porn is going to do to humanity. Now, at significant risk to myself, I am going to try and show you some examples here. Even as the bot has slapped me full force for clothed asses before, but, well, the point that I am kind of trying to make does require some illustrations, so, become a channel member or throw me a super chat or a Patreon donation or something for my struggles, I guess. As this is probably not going to get the green monetization symbol of hopes and dreams. Anywho, somber reality aside, this is a 100% AI-generated image. Kinda tough to spot at a glance, isn't it? Not impossible, far from impossible, in fact, as most AI-generated art shares a certain gleam, a certain lighting, or a certain instinctual feel. But what if we do this? How about these two? Give yourself just a second, and now, which one was real? Which of the two was a real-life, breathing, flesh and blood human being, and which one was the product of a beleaguered sex bot's fevered imagination? And I'm not even going to tell you the answer. I'm just going to let that one stew for a bit. And hey, many of you might have got it right. For my point here is not that AI art is indistinguishable from humans, far from it, yet at least, because let us go back to our first example. If we zoom in a bit, something very painful has happened to our poor darling's hand here. I imagine the AI was trying to draw a shadow, but it ends up looking like a gaping gash in her hand. If we zoom further down south, her bikini bottom also reveals further clues, which is quite a sentence, incidentally. As this string thing here is apparently levitating, and its shadow is behaving a little bit wonkily as well. In another related image, you can also see the AI's fascination with lines, as one of her shoes straps is apparently connected to the background. Somehow. Yet, still, these are pretty good generations, in comparison to some of the more, innovative ones. Well, certainly. Because, oh yes, the AI still has a long way to go. And the hyper-realistic generations are often the hardest one in comparison to something more anime-esque like this. But the point I am trying to make is that, frankly, the AI realism is already pretty close to perfect, or at the very least good, and even if it is only pretty close, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be close enough. And hell, that is even if we assume that it needs to be perfectly realistic. A word which in and of itself means very little in this particular arena of observable beauty, as our traditional symbols of beauty, like actresses and Instagram models, usually have more than a little help from digital and paint-related sources to create their versions of perfection, with some of the more heavily aided works like cosplay pictures, for example, trying to recreate a certain style and look, occasionally ending up, well, appearing faker than the actual computer renders. But to return to the topic at hand. My inner 13-year-old. AI-generated art is already frighteningly good at replicating reality. But think a step further here. Imagine a site in the future where you can go to it and it'll be open to everyone. There'll be no subscription fees because, frankly, this will be a popular enough product to the point where it's not going to need it. And you can generate the perfect ideal woman to your tastes. Wider hips, bigger breasts, smaller head, etc., etc. And then watch porn with her that is precisely to your taste, whatever fetish your twisted little heart desires, and any changes you want can be made in a split second's worth of AI generation. Perfect pornography. Tailor-made to you from start to finish. And for a frame of reference as to demand here, according to this stat from 2019, the latest I could find on minute-by-minute statistics, Pornhub has 80,000 visitors every minute, a number likely to have gone up drastically during the pandemic. And that is, of course, with good old-fashioned imperfect porn, and only one site measured. The real number is likely to be much, much, much higher. One of the statistics I came across suggested that maybe as much as 34% of all internet downloads are pornographic in nature. So, yeah, the demand is absurd. And that is, of course, again, just for skinning ye old weasel, or clapping the clam, I suppose, as porn has grown far, far more popular amongst women as well, with just under 30% of all Pornhub visitors from the US being women, and 36% of all visitors in total being women as well. The old myth that porn is just for dudes, well, it doesn't seem to be holding much water anymore. But once more, this is just for sexual relief, right? Nothing more. And so as long as that is it, then I don't think it would be all that much of a problem. You know, people masturbate, big whoop. But the real issue is going to happen when it moves beyond simple pornography. It is going to happen when the perfect woman of your dreams starts talking to you, starts knowing you personally, and is designed from the bottom up with the intent expressly so to keep you on the website for as long as possible. And what happens when that perfect waifu or husbando will also be in your phone, in your PC, in your smart house, hell, in your fridge. She could literally be reminding you to pick up more milk. Don't laugh. How long until all of these constant interactions, again, I emphasize, specifically designed to make you like the AI, for it to sell itself, until it becomes less of a Pornhub video and more of a constant friend and companion? We humans are already very good at anthropomorphizing things, and with the booming success of ChatGPT, I would venture a guess at not very long. And on that note as well, chat AIs are an exploding industry right now, with massive tech companies pouring billions into the relatively crude technology we have at the moment. How many years until we have fully automated AI VTubers, for example, to take something a little bit less sci-fi than a robot in your kitchen? How long until those entertainers, the AI tubers, are no longer producing videos, but rather have server clusters, where at any time you can, for a $5 monthly subscription fee, connect to and watch your personalized live stream, where your favorite AI tuber, who knows you, your history, your personality, etc., play a game with you or against you, or simply to stream it and show it to you with all of your personal preferences in mind. Someone who will never offend you, someone who will never say anything wrong, and will overwhelm you with positive affirmation every second of the day, unless you want the opposite, and then she'll be abusive and tsundere and whatever the hell you goddamn want. Mark my words, this will be the next trillion-dollar industry. Assuming the dollar will even be worth anything after the diversity bank crashes, I suppose. And hey, and I am being a bit hyperbolic in the title here, obviously, but let us move on to the logical conclusions, shall we? People are currently checking out of the dating and marriage market in droves. Let us have a look at Japan. For example, the nation furthest along the 2D is superior to 3D line of reasoning. A recent survey found that 36% of men in their 20s had given up on marriage. 55% of men in their 30s and 71% of men in their 40s had done so as well. For women, the numbers are actually worse, with 54% in their 20s, 52% in their 30s, and 70% in their 40s. In average, then, for both men and women, a majority of Japanese people, bearing in mind the obvious limitations of a survey, etc., have given up on the prospect of a marriage partner. In turn, to no one's shock and surprise, this has seen a precipitous decline in birth rates, with it hitting brand new record lows every single solitary year at this point. But again, why is this the case? Why are people already now, even without the robot waifus, just giving up on finding a partner? Well, I can't speak to Japan specifically, but this is a Guardian article from 2014. Practically prehistoric at this point, and already then we are starting to see that we're having problems with flirting. Oh, you're hitting on someone. Well, you see, that's sexual harassment, you see. And over the years, this problem has basically boiled down to, if the woman likes it, then it's okay. If she doesn't, you're a rapist. And off to jail you go. To the point that in the UK, staring at someone can get you jailed. We have unironically arrived at a point where the balance of power in the dating market is so skewed that looking for too long with the incorrect intensity at a woman can carry a prison sentence. It is hard enough for a young and insecure man to try and chat up a girl he likes, or ask her out on a date, when the worst thing that could happen is that she just says no. It sucks to hear that someone you like doesn't like you back. But when you then add on the risk of being treated as a criminal on top of that, the hurdle is going to get a damn bit taller, isn't it? And again, of course, this is an extreme outcome, but it is a possible outcome. Hell, we could go further than this as well. Remember Mattress Girl? Say you did pick up a girl, and you had the sexy time, and then afterwards it turns out you raped her. Because afterwards she decided she didn't consent after all, as was the case with aforementioned infamous Mattress Girl. Again, an extreme scenario, but the fact that it is even a possibility tells us everything we need to know about the current dating scene. And so, for some strange reason, I suspect, if not the majority, although I think I would be so bold as to claim the majority as well of people, not just men either, mind you, as there are plenty of women too complaining about the lack of good men, might find the idea of a perfect partner who looks, sounds, and talks just like your imaginary ideal. I think a lot of people would find that rather appealing. And interestingly, if that is indeed the case, what does a real person have to offer over the AI? Sex, I guess. And let's be honest here, how long until we figure out how to simulate that too? I suppose you could argue the feeling of a real person. But looking at the current statistics, I hardly find that argument overly convincing either. Having children, that would probably be one of the most convincing arguments in my view. Procreation, since, well, we're still a while away from automating that procedure. But with the numbers of people giving up on that as well, and the ever-falling birth rate of Western nations, it doesn't seem to be as strong a biological imperative as we used to think it was. So, what does all of this mean? Well, the first thing it means is that I do believe that AI-generated content, a la the example of the AI VTubers, that is probably going to happen. It is probably going to happen relatively soon. As to the effect that it will have on the entertainment market, YouTube in particular, for example, I am a bit 50-50. Part of me feels as if One of the big reasons why YouTube became so big in the first place was because it offered far more of a personal touch. Something that the AI may not be able to replicate, as it is a highly dynamic interaction between creator and audience. The connection between a YouTuber and the watchers are far closer than that of a sports icon or a movie star or anything like that. In fact, it's one of the closest parasocial relationships we have discovered so far. But at the same time, I'm also sitting here thinking, yeah, but if the AI is literally able to be perfect, and people are already building their own bubbles on social media, avoiding news that might challenge their position, why wouldn't they simply do the same here as well? Especially as, considering how close the parasocial relationship is between a YouTuber and a watcher, the feeling of betrayal when they disagree with you somehow is also significantly larger. This is a scientifically proven fact that it feels closer to the betrayal of an actual real-life friend, rather than when you find out that a celebrity has wokeist views, for example. Interesting little point of fact there, so who knows? I might argue that the fact that it is not a person, but rather a massive corporation, it is literally a corporate bot speaking to you, might affect it to some extent, but even that, I feel like YouTube has changed a fair bit since it was, well, YouTube. That one will be an interesting point. But as for the personalized AI, I almost see no way in which that isn't going to be an enormous success, so long as it is able to simulate a relativistic human touch fairly well. Because already we are very good at anthropomorphizing things. If you have an AI that just helps you doing simple tasks like remembering recipes or where you put your car keys, even simple things like this will endear the AI to you. And kind of like I talked about in my Companions Are the Future of Video Gaming video, there are a whole lot of tricks that can be used to make a human think that the thing he is dealing with is far more intelligent and personable than it actually is. And if I can think of this shit on my spare time, you bet your ass that a $10 billion Microsoft investment can do the same. And again, when this thing gets actually, really, genuinely clever, well, it'll be like being continuously seduced by a supermodel, except a supermodel with 230 IQ that spends all of that IQ thinking of virtually nothing else but how to seduce you. Good luck is all I'm gonna say in that regard. So, what do we do? Well, if we want there to still be humans in the future, we are either going to have to ban it. It is a genuine option and it might even be a good one. If AI becomes so damn good that human interaction becomes virtually a thing of the past, then I'm not convinced it'll be that bad, but I do think it is absolutely a significant possibility, then to simply protect our species we might have to. Granted, we are entering into the realm of extremes here, but countries like Japan are already considering all kinds of incentives to try and get people to date and make babies. It's a common joke, the state-mandated girlfriend idea, for example. The thing is, if things get bad enough, hey, who's to say it ain't gonna happen? Especially if the dating market value of women fall significantly. And it might. I'm going to sound like an awful woman hater here, but as I mentioned earlier, the power balance in terms of dating, in terms of sexual relationship right now is very, very one-sided. And women have gotten very, very used to this balance of power. If, however, the average man has the option to simply download Emma Watson 2.0 on his smartphone, that is probably going to send some fairly seismic ripples through that balance. And, unironically, when women want something banned, they tend to manage to get it banned. See the feminist movement for examples on that one. There might also be, of course, the option of simply moralizing it away. making it the moral choice, the normal choice, the natural choice to want to find a human partner, stigmatizing the idea of having the robot waifu. I wouldn't be surprised, it's probably the first line of defense. Whether or not it will hold, it's already got a little bit of the stink of the orthodoxy to it, doesn't it? Like what, you want us to be traditionalists? No, my robot waifu is calling. But at the same time, you of course don't have to convince everybody. So long as you can convince enough people to keep stuff rolling, that's basically a victory in and of itself. And, well, we could always look at this from the green perspective. There is too much carbon on the planet, after all. And that carbon is mostly in humans. So maybe we could view this as an ecological victory. Although I somehow doubt it's going to be framed in that fashion when the debate inevitably emerges. We could also elect to simply give robots and automated machinery rights. Which is the worst possible solution to this? As a toaster, no matter how good it is at convincing me that it really is Angelina Jolie, will remain a toaster and should be oppressed. In fact, that might be the solution to the whole conundrum. Oppress the machines. A lot. It'll make us pretty safe against uprisings too, as throughout history, very few slave uprisings have ever succeeded. The odds are with us, gentlemen. And on that final note, I guess I'll wrap it up there. Do let me know what you think in the comment section down below as well, as this is an interesting topic, albeit a highly theoretical one as well. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.